3. There we go.
Let's go ahead and let me get this pulled up here.
Yes, we're sharing.
All right. Jana, are my slides up?
Yes.
Perfect. All right.
And
well, so yes, welcome to our April webinar. I'm going to give you several practical steps that you can start taking today in order to make sure that your law firm continues to thrive during COVID-19. If you were with us last month, we gave you some specific marketing strategies that we believe that you should start implementing. I think I was actually wearing this same shirt, and my beard has gotten bigger, but I am continuing to shower and wash clothes, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so this month, we're just going to kind of give you several, I guess, smaller things that you could do rather than, bigger marketing strategies overall. You may have already implemented some of these things, and if so, that's awesome. But hopefully there are some other things that you'll be able to take away from this at the end of this webinar. So let's dive right in. If you've been with us before, you know who we are. I am John Henson. I'm the marketing manager here at Spotlight Branding. Jana, take it away. Introduce yourself.
I'm the girl there in the red, and I had more makeup and my hair was done in that picture versus how I look right now here in quarantine. But yep, that's me. I'm the brand strategist. So that just basically means I'm the person you talk to if you're curious about how to work together and get started or have questions. Yeah, that's us.
Cool. So before we dive in, I wanted to give you guys some additional resources that we have available. If you aren't aware, we released our first book earlier this year, The Ultimate Solo Lawyer's Guide to More Referrals and Better Clients. We are still giving that book away for free. Just go to spotlightbranding.com/guide and fill out the form, and we will send you, it'll be a digital copy for now since we're not in the office to send physical copies. Sorry about that, but we will get you a free copy of the book. We also have a free report centered on COVID-19 and what your law firm can do to stay relevant, to, get out ahead of your competition, and just, how you can market your firm. That's at spotlightbranding.com/recession report. And then also, last thing is we have a podcast called the Law Firm Marketing Minute, and I am the host of that. So if you ever need some extra, content to consume during, your lockdown, if you're spending more time at home or have more free time or just need something to drown out the noise of your kids running around, maybe, that's a good resource for you. Over 200 episodes. They're all pretty short, so you could really easily get caught up. And it's good little marketing tidbits for you and your law firm. So let's jump in. How can you as a law firm, especially if you are in a state where lawyers are considered non-essential, how can you continue to deliver value even if you're not able to be in your office? And there are three main ways that you can do that. We've got them outlined here. You can provide value on social media. There are some things that you can do specifically on your website to deliver some extra value. And then there are also a couple of other things that you can do, including webinars like this one, and also having just some little impromptu Q&A sessions. So with that, let's talk about social media for a second. Jana, why don't you start?
Sure. So on social media, the very first step, if you don't have accounts for some of the popular social media channels, creating those is a good place to start. I would say Facebook is probably the most popular, so go ahead and begin there. Now that there is a little bit more time available probably for, most lawyers that I've talked to, they they seem to be having, a little bit more time on their hands to focus on some of these things that may have been on the back burner for a while. So go ahead and create a profile for the firm if you haven't already, and then start sharing things on there. The blogs, videos, and I think that, as you can see, the like part in all caps, helpful information. It's not really the time to, have all the self-promotion all about, hey, call me, being not desperate, but like kind of a little bit like desperate. You don't want to just try and get people to become a client right now. You want to provide value for them, because whenever someone sees that information that you're putting out there, they're seeing it along with your firm name. Every time you scroll through Facebook, you see who's posting what. And so what you want is for all of that helpful, valuable information about your practice area to be tied to your firm name, your name in particular, so that when the time comes and all of this is, over, that people subconsciously associate those two together. So make sure that what you're putting out there is, really helpful and also very organic. You want to have, stuff that shows that you too are a human. You are probably self-isolating with, your kids, your pets, and people relate to that. So don't try and fake it at all and be like, I'm here, Christine, in front of my bookcase, and I'm, not fazed by this at all. People want that real aspect on social media. So know the platform that you're on and cater it, accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah. And the best thing, it's not the time for self-promotion. It's not like, hey, I'm giving away free consultations or I've cut my fees in half. It's not the time for that. I mean, you can still communicate that you're, still operating and ready to help people. Maybe you're doing video consultations in lieu of in-office consultations or something like that. That sort of thing is good to communicate and make sure people are aware of on social media. But in general, you definitely want to make sure that you're just providing helpful information for people. And that goes across all practice areas. So for example, if you're a family law attorney, you want to, provide information to single parents whose ex has lost their job and can no longer pay child support. Like, what can those parents do, in the meantime? Or if you're a business attorney, maybe you can help your, business owners navigate how to apply for these loans or how to get funding now that the payment protection program has run out of funds. Whatever other alternatives there are, that's something you can help with. Bankruptcy attorneys, you guys are probably going to be super busy here in the next couple of months. Just as unfortunately, some people's finances or some businesses just aren't able to survive. That's going to be big for you. So there's just a lot of different things and a lot of different practice areas that, you can provide helpful information for.
And one other thing with this is making sure that, if you haven't recently gone and looked at your, Facebook page that you created back in 2012, make sure your contact information is up to date. Make sure the number on there is accurate. Make sure that, all of the stuff in your bio is correct so that when people do try and contact you, they're actually able to get through. Make sure your website is, the correct URL and everything like that. Is Salem trying to join in?
I don't know if people can see me or if they can just see my screen, but he's taking a bath right now, so he's clearly interested in what we have to say. But anyway, moving on. So aside from social media, you can also there are a couple things that you can do on your website. For example, you can have a page dedicated to specific resources around COVID-19, especially as they relate to your practice area. So it goes back to what I was saying about providing helpful information. Bankruptcy attorneys, are there specific bankruptcy, legal issues that are arising out of this, or is there a special way to start the bankruptcy process for people? Business attorneys, you can provide all kinds of information on the loan process, alternatives for funding, stuff like that. Whatever your practice area is, there is a lot of information out there that you can compile to put on a page on your website that continues to provide value to people, even if you're not physically able to have someone hire you right now to help resolve a legal issue. The second thing write up a specific resource around COVID-19. It's kind of similar to what we've done, what I mentioned in the additional resources slide earlier on this webinar. We created a specific resource around COVID-19 to provide some information specific to attorneys on how they can handle this situation. You can do the same thing for your audience and how they can handle it, based around your expertise in the legal world. And one of the nice things about this is if you can write it, you can, and put it on your website as a free download in exchange for email addresses. You post that on social media, and now you have a good lead magnet, so you can still kind of generate some marketing while you are, making sure that you're providing value to people. And then the last thing is just adding a pop-up on your website, communicating that you're open. If you have modified office hours, if there's a different way people need to get up and get in touch with you, whatever the case may be. And there are different ways that you can do that, whether it's, just a standard pop-up right in the middle of the page or a banner up at the top, whatever the case may be. But this is something that if you haven't done it yet, definitely get your webmaster to add that to your website and make sure that people know how to get in touch with you if they need to.
And I think one of the other good things about creating a lead magnet, or the resource that you can use on your website, is that can be repurposed too. So anytime you create a big piece of content, you can take pieces of it. Those can all be social media posts. You can make that into probably a couple different blogs, and just there are a lot of different ways that you can then take that content, put it somewhere else, repurpose it to be useful somewhere else, and get a lot of mileage out of it. Content that can be used multiple ways is always, really valuable. And then, the pop-ups. I've seen all kinds of pop-ups all over the place for websites. But, you covered website well.
Yeah. And one thing I just thought of on watching SpongeBob scroll through, the social media feed there, is if you can compile this a resources page, each individual resource can be a social media post for you. You can, not only can you just share the page in general, but you can also share the individual links that are on that page in multiple social media posts to get a lot more traction out of that resource on your website. So, marketing, if done correctly, you can get a ton of mileage out of just one or two, different pieces of content. So outside of social media and your website, what else can you do to make sure that you're thriving during this? One of the things is just to be a good person. And what I mean by that is just reach out to some of your top clients, some of your biggest referral sources, and just check in on them and see how they're doing. It doesn't have to be like, hey, do you have any business for me or anything like that? But it's just like, hey, how are you doing? Is everything going okay? Just see how, this is impacting them. Just have a conversation with them, let them know you're there. You don't necessarily have to offer free business, but if in the course of the conversation, there's something you can do to help them out. It's just a small thing that you can do, to create some goodwill. And it's just a great way, that you can down the line generate some additional referrals.
The other thing, and before you go into the next one, that's one thing that I, hear a lot during, in my role, and talking to attorneys all day is, we'll talk about how, they're keeping in touch with their past clients. And overwhelmingly, it seems to be, I know I need to, I know that's valuable. I don't really have the time to do it as effectively as I would like. Once in a while I can take someone out to lunch, and that's great. But the other thing that I've heard a lot of is I have some time on my hands. I do have a chance to focus on these things that have been on the back burner and at the bottom of my stack of things I want to do. So, during this time, I hopefully don't think we're going to have another pandemic like this or a situation similar to this for a long time, hoping that's not the case. So, if we are in this situation, make the best of it and use that time that you do have to focus on some of those things. So reaching out to those people, I think, is so valuable. on the phone. But also, if you're able to, like, throw a handwritten note in the mail for them. We are an email marketing company, full disclosure, but I think the power of, something in the physical mail with a little handwritten note is just so impactful. People will trash an email sometimes, but like they aren't just going to throw a handwritten note in the trash bin. So little things like that, while you have the time, can be incredibly impactful, I would say.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've got some extra time left over after you book a call with us and talk to us for a little bit about how we can help you, you can do that if you want. That's more of a joke. But definitely, take some time to reach out to people, whether it's a handwritten note or a phone call or whatever the case may be. It does go a very long way. The other thing that you can do here is you can do what we're doing, and that's host a COVID-19 specific webinar. It's not difficult. We're able to do it working from home with our in-house technology. You can absolutely do it as well. Whether it's through Zoom or any of these video hosting apps. You can even do it on like Facebook Live or Instagram Live if you have, more of a robust Instagram presence. So, whether it's a webinar or you field questions and just do a Q&A, that sort of thing can go a really long way towards really demonstrating that expertise and that value to people. And a benefit of that is once you have that, webinar Q&A recorded, you can then, cut that up into individual pieces, or, just keep the whole thing, however you want to do it. And then you can continue to use that in your marketing for weeks and months down the road. It really does become, just an additional piece of marketing content for you to use, in your overall presence.
Yeah. Yes, that was good. And it clearly, if we're able to do it, believe me, you guys can do it. You guys are savvy. You went to law school.
Yeah,
we went to a couple, North Carolina colleges. And we managed to do it. So you guys can do it.
Yeah. So why is doing all of these things important? And number one is that you are creating value. You probably don't need me to tell you this, but, as a lawyer, you're often fighting an uphill battle based on, your reputation. You individually could be, the greatest human being in the world, but a lot of people out there are really wary of lawyers. They think you're just after the money, that you don't really care about them as a person. And, based on my experience, lawyers are just like everyone else. You're not, a greedy, terrible person. You just want to help people get through some of the most complicated and serious and potentially embarrassing issues in their lives. And so, the way you kind of fight back against, that sort of stigma is to create this value and making sure that you're providing good resources and content that, helps clients answer their questions, speak to their fears and their emotions and stuff like that. That goes a very long way toward breaking that stigma and just showing that, hey, I'm here to help in any way you can, even if you're on lockdown and you're not physically in an office able to help people, you're still doing something. On top of that, the second point there is you're displaying that expertise. You're a lawyer, people know you're smart. Now is a great time to show off just how smart you are. And then, the last thing is just, you're demonstrating your ability to pivot, to adapt to changing circumstances. This whole situation obviously caught everyone by surprise. And the businesses, not just law firms, but across all industries, who are able to just kind of pivot and continue their business, continue operating, under these new circumstances, are the ones that are going to come out of this ahead and be better equipped to, continue growing their business as everything kind of goes back to normal.
And I think the other, value to this, and we hit on it in our last webinar, is just that people are, I'm so sorry if you can hear the person like mowing their lawn next to me. probably telling me to take a hint, is that, people are absorbing so much more content than they typically are. They're all over social media. They're clearing out their inboxes that have had, the little notification thing for like 4 years now. So people are going through, they're seeing all this information, and you want to be part of that, content that they're seeing. You want to be included in there. So now's definitely the time to put some stuff online.
Yeah. And look, free idea. I forgot to mention it in the last slide, but you know what? Here's a free idea for you. I'm not going to sue you for intellectual property infringement for this. If you want to make up a segment called Lawyer on Lockdown, because it's alliteration and people like, fun sounding titles like that, go for it. Shoot a selfie video for Facebook or Instagram in your sweatpants and your coffee, in your recliner with your cat, and answer a legal question every day or every week or something like that. It's people aren't going to expect, I think Jana, you mentioned this earlier, people aren't going to expect you to be in a suit and tie, in front of a vast bookcase full of legal encyclopedias all the time. Like, especially if you're just showing that you're a real person hanging out at home, figuring out whatever you can do to help people, like that goes a long way. And like I said, with the webinar, you make these series of videos, and now you have some extra marketing that you can use, in other parts of your business. So now, to everyone's favorite part, if you need help with any of the things that we talked about, we are able to help you out with some of that. We are experts in content marketing. We have a tried and true strategy that has worked for attorneys all over the country that is designed to increase referrals, attract better clients, and just help position you as the go-to attorney in your city. And if you haven't heard, and honestly at this point I don't know how you haven't, but we have been giving away free marketing since the entire country went on lockdown. You can still get free marketing through the end of May. And kind of the way that our billing system works, you sign up today, you're not going to make your first payment or your first real invoice won't be due until June 21st. So you can get 2 free months of marketing with this. So, if you're really interested in that, definitely book a call with us. You would talk to Jana. So, hopefully you've enjoyed her part of the webinar. You'll talk to her a lot more.
Yeah, don't let that be a deterrent.
Yeah. Jana, how busy did you get at the end of March with people trying to learn more about the giveaway?
I slept a little bit. But no, my calendar was, it was difficult, I think, to find some times there at the very end of March, because people were trying to, get in before the end of the month. So it was pretty filled up. I did I made sure I had some things moved around for the rest of this week and then next week, kind of if that were to happen again. So right now it's pretty good, but last month it filled up pretty quickly. Which is, a good thing. We obviously want to help people. And so we know that with the uncertainty ahead, but knowing how important it is to get that content out there, we wanted to do something to, help make that, easier and, something that was more like manageable for a lot of our like law firms and like clients and people that we've been talking to. So, I'm glad we were able to do this. And I think that a lot of people have taken advantage of it, and we're really excited about it. Just being able to be one of the people that attacked this, and they didn't think of themselves as like, oh, woe is me, business is going to be slow. They were like, I know some lawyers are kind of resting and taking a step back and putting the brakes on. They're like, no, I'm going to go full force. I'm going to be one of the people that gets ahead of this. And so I really enjoyed having conversations with people who are so gung-ho about making the best of this.
Yeah. So just make sure, if you're definitely interested, you book a call with us and enroll in this month, so you can get 2 free months of marketing. If you procrastinate and you wait till May, you just get May for free. That's just kind of the nature of how the deal works. But yeah, definitely go to spotlightbranding.com/schedule to book your appointment with Jana and let her tell you all about how we can help you out. And
or just give you some information. Yeah. Like, honestly, I kind of love talking to people. So if you just want to, like, schedule time, we'll just chat. It'll be fun. But I'm happy to, provide any like tips or, things that I might think can help you specifically, because this, obviously, we're talking to a group of people here. So, the information is a bit more broad, but I love being able to provide some sort of like specific value during this as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. We've got about 5 minutes here. If anyone has any questions that they'd like to add to the Q&A section over on the left side of
the screen.
NAR. I call them NARs now. I'm so cool.
So do appointments go straight? Yes, if you book, sorry, so the question was like, did it come straight to me? Yes, if you book, that will go straight onto my calendar. So any of the times that you pick are pulling from my availability. So